Hello, I recently saw a video on YouTube posted by popular YouTuber Joe Weller. It was called Messi versus Ronaldo, the video. And in the video he basically summarises why he thinks Cristiano Ronaldo is better at football than Lionel Messi. No, I disagree. I think Messi's the better footballer of the two. But if you haven't watched his video, I'll put the link to it in the description, because in this video I'll be going through most of the comments in his video and summarising why I disagreed with most of what he said, not everything. So watch his video if you haven't already. The first thing Joe says is that he won't be using any scientific evidence to give his opinion. It'll just be based on what he thinks. I think the reason he did that is because if you look at things like stats, particularly goal scoring stats over the course of their careers, it's hard to give a good argument for Ronaldo being better. Messi's played 165 games less than Ronaldo over his career, but he's only scored 33 goals less than Ronaldo. He's also 2.5 years younger. If you look at things like World Player of the Year awards, the Ballon d'Or, Ronaldo's won one less than Messi. Messi's won 4, Ronaldo's won 3. Again, Messi's 2.5 years younger. He's also been in the top 3 contenders for the last 8 years since 2007. So if you look at goal scoring stats and also generally look at records, goal scoring records, Messi is far superior. However, goal scoring isn't all that matters in football, so I can understand why he gave more of a qualitative argument rather than a quantitative argument. Joe then gives a few reasons for why he thinks Messi is a great footballer. He talks about him doing things that no one else can do. He's talking about the attacking side of his game, talking about going around players and scoring goals. And that's true. When you watch Messi play, it becomes very clear that no one can dribble as well as he can or finish as well as he can. If you look at things like stats from the World Cup 2014 last year, Messi had the most completed dribbles in the tournament, and that's at the highest level. I also agree with Joe when he talks about Messi having his own unique style. He's talking about his goal scoring there, talking about him being able to score from any angle, he says. And he is unique in terms of the quantity of goals he scores. He scored 91 in 2012. That's the record for the most goals scored in a calendar year. Joe then talks about how Messi is natural and not a manufactured footballer, which is true. He's excelled at football since he was young, despite not having that ideal physique you'd maybe consider for a footballer. I'll post a video in the description of him playing when he was 8 for an Argentinian team called Newell Old Boys, and you see how good he was from a young age. And because he's so naturally talented, a lot of people say that is what makes him more consistent than Ronaldo. He even plays well when he's off form, for example. He broke another record recently for being the first player to score more than 40 goals in 6 consecutive seasons. That's unbelievable consistency over a long period of time. Joe then talks about the fact that Ronaldo can walk into any team and be the best player. And I totally agree with that. In his last 2 years, I'd say at Man United, he was the best player in the Premier League. Since moving to Spain, he's always been Real Madrid's best player. He's been the top scorer in La Liga in the last 2 seasons, or 3 seasons, including this one. I mean, what a player. The thing I love most about Ronaldo, as Joe says, is the fact he's worked so hard to get to where he's at and to be one of the best in the world. He's an absolute machine. He's almost a model footballer when it comes to his physicality and also his training ethic, and just how hard he works to be his best is outstanding. Joe in his video then says, let's go on to the debate side of things. Let's start comparing the players. In this part he says that he thinks that Ronaldo is better, and you know that I disagree with that. The first point he makes is probably the most annoying point that people make when arguing that Ronaldo is better than Messi. And it's the fact that Ronaldo has played in the Premier League and been very successful in the Premier League. Messi hasn't been successful in the Premier League. However, Messi hasn't played in the Premier League, and he probably never will. So ultimately we can't know if he would be successful in the Premier League. However, I think we can make a pretty good guess based on his ability and based on the fact that he's the all-time top scorer in La Liga, all-time top scorer in El Clasicos, and all-time top scorer in the Champions League at the highest level of football. To use the cliche of could he do it on a cold, wet, rainy night in Stoke is odd, I think. It doesn't really add up to suggest that Messi would struggle against the likes of Ryan Shawcross and Robert Huth. In Joe's video, he suggests that Messi is too slender, too small, that he'd get knocked off the ball too easily and marked out the game. But there is, I think, an arrogance amongst a lot of English football fans who believe the Premier League is just the epitome of all football, and you have to be able to prove yourself there to prove that you're the best. I understand the Premier League is more physical, and that's what people are getting at when they give that argument. But time and time again, we see Messi every week stay on his feet when he's being fouled and not go down. He is small, but he's not a weak player. He's good at staying on his feet when playing a game that's very physical. Joe claims that English teams would learn to stop Messi, that they'd be able to mark him out the game. But if that's the case, why is it that so many Champions League teams struggle to do that, and they so rarely do that effectively to Messi and so rarely stop him? There can't be a very strong argument for Ronaldo being better than Messi if the main argument used is the fact that hypothetically Messi wouldn't be able to be successful in a league that he's never actually played in. The argument is ultimately flawed when you look at players who have made the transition to the Premier League and have been successful. Players like Diego Costa, Cesc Fabregas, and Jesus Navas, Michu, Torres, Sergio Aguero. They all came from La Liga. Joe's next point is to claim that Ronaldo is a more all-round player, that he's a more complete player. And I do agree, Ronaldo is definitely more physically strong than Messi, he's more powerful than Messi. But I think Messi's better at accelerating than Ronaldo is. I think he's faster at changing direction, particularly when running with the ball. Now, Joe also says that Ronaldo is more complete because he scores more headed goals than Messi, which he does. But Messi isn't bad at heading the ball. He in fact scored a Champions League final goal in 2009 maybe against Ronaldo's Man United at the time. Despite being the smallest player on the pitch, he scored in the Champions League final, scored a header. So Ronaldo overall is a better header of the ball, definitely, but that doesn't make him a more complete player. What Joe's generally saying is that Ronaldo's all-round game is better than Messi's, which I disagree with. But what Joe says a few times during the video is that Ronaldo can't compete with Messi when it comes to one thing, and that one thing is going round players and scoring goals. However, going round players and scoring goals is ultimately what Ronaldo and Messi are both paid to do. And he is right in saying that Messi is the best at doing that. And therefore, physical attributes, things like how strong and how fast they are, don't really matter. Messi and Ronaldo, although they play different positions, they both play in attacking roles. So ultimately their aim is to score goals, set up goals and play parts and moves that lead to goals. And I gave some stats earlier that showed Messi is the better goal scorer over the course of their entire careers despite being younger. But also Messi gets more assists than Ronaldo, and in my opinion plays a bigger part in his team. Although I agree with Joe and Ronaldo is better than Messi when it comes to some things such as scoring headed goals and definitely better at taking penalties, Messi's ability to create and score chances is unbelievable. He scores more goals and he assists more goals. And in my opinion, the reason he does that is because he's a better dribbler with the ball, he's a better finisher, and he's also a better passer. He plays such a big part in the team. He so often starts moves that they end up scoring from as well. It's hard to describe to someone how good Messi is until they've watched him play. And when you start to watch him play regularly, it's then that you realise how good he is and how much better than anyone else he is. I do agree with Joe that Ronaldo's had the pressure of a price tag that Messi's not had. He signed from Real Madrid to Manchester United for £80 million and he handled the pressure of that. And he's proven to them that was money worth spending. But one of the things I love about Messi, and one of the things many people love about him, is the fact that he's played for one team, that he's so committed to Barcelona, he's just so committed to a team. I think to claim Ronaldo is better, as Joe does, based on physical attributes such as strength and power, and also how good he is at heading, and as Joe says at one point in the video, how good he is at defending, is weird. I think I actually agree with quite a lot of what Joe says in his video. We just the way we decide who the best player in the world is just different. I think it seems more that Joe is giving his opinion on who the best in the world is based more on how good they are physically, how good they are as an athlete, rather than based on how successful they've been, how many records they've broken, how many goals they've scored, and based on stats. Joe's video was actually posted at the end of last year, at the end of 2014, just before he got awarded his Ballon d'Or. And I agree that Ronaldo deserved to win the Ballon d'Or last year. He was the most on-form player. He had an incredible year. And many considered Messi to have a bad year last year. It was probably partly due to injury that Messi had a bad year for his standards. But a bad year included scoring 63 goals, only 3 less than Ronaldo, captaining a side to the World Cup final, just missing out on winning it, and also winning player of the tournament at a World Cup. That's a bad year for Messi. That's how good he is. I do think it's a privilege we get to watch Messi and Ronaldo play in the same era, arguably the 2 best players of all time, definitely 2 of the best players of all time, playing at the same time. I'd like to make a point that this debate has to be between those 2. There's no one else playing currently that's anywhere near them in terms of just the standard of football that they're playing, and that's been the case for the last few years now. I'm going to leave you one more thing. This is a comment I actually heard another YouTuber say, a guy called Spencer Owen, has a channel called Spencer FC. This is what he had to say on the matter. Ronaldo is the perfect footballer, and he is who you would make if you were a scientist in a lab designing the perfect footballer. He is big, strong, and looks the part. Messi is the opposite of what you would make. You would make him a lot taller and a lot more camera friendly. Despite that, Messi is just a magician, and the things he does are unquestionable. Ronaldo is the perfect human. Messi is an alien from another planet. I think that summarises what I believe. They're both incredible footballers, incredible athletes, but Messi's just on another level. As I said, he's a genius. He does things other people can't do, and in my opinion, he's the best footballer of all time. I'll post the various videos I mentioned in this video in the description box, so you can see those. There's also a link to Joe's video. I'll also post links to various articles that are helpful to read. And please comment, who do you think is the better of the two? What did you agree with that I said? What did you disagree with that I said? If you have enjoyed the video, please send it to Joe Weller, maybe tweet it to him. It'd be interesting to see if he still thinks Ronaldo is better, or whether he's changed his mind based on Messi's incredible form in 2015. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please share it, subscribe, comment, like. See you soon.